Why humans follow the herd, even when it's wrong. There's a moment right before everything goes wrong, when everyone feels certain. The room is calm, the crowd agrees, and doubt quietly disappears. That's the moment history becomes dangerous. Humans don't follow the herd because it's right. We follow it because it feels safe. And that instinct, the one that once kept us alive, now leads us straight into modern disasters. In this video, we uncover the hidden psychology behind collective blindness. Why smart people ignore warnings, why crowds punish truth, and why collapse always feels sudden, even when it's been building all along. If you think you're immune to herd behavior, stay with me. This might change the way you see people and yourself. If you want to know more about behavioral finance and panic psychology, don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming videos. The moment everyone was certain and everyone was wrong. In the final days before collapse, nothing feels urgent. The room is calm, tone is confident, and the story sounds settled. Warnings exist, but they no longer land. They feel disruptive, out of place, and almost rude. People don't panic early in history's great failures. They didn't run, they stay seated, and they nod. They repeat what everyone else is saying, because agreement feels like safety. When belief becomes shared, responsibility disappears, risk feels diluted, and doubt feels unnecessary. Slowly and almost invisibly, certainty replaces thinking. By the time reality breaks through, a crash, a reversal, a public reckoning, people insist it came out of nowhere. But it didn't. It arrived quietly, through confidence, comfort, and through a crowd that mistook consensus for truth. Why the herd feels safe. Long before cities, markets, or institutions, survival depended on one rule: stay with the group. For early humans, isolation was a death sentence. The lone figure didn't live longer because they were smarter. They lived shorter because they were alone. So the brain adapted, belonging became safety, agreement became protection, and standing apart framed as danger. That instinct never disappeared. TT only modernized. Today, the threats are no longer predators or starvation. They are reputational, social, and economic. But the wiring is the same. When many people believe something, the brain reads it as a signal, not of truth, but of safety. Following the herd reduces friction, it lowers risk, and quiets anxiety. That comfort can override evidence, logic, and experience without us even noticing it happening. When the crowd becomes a trap, the hidden weaknesses. At a certain size, the group stops protecting its members and starts protecting itself. This is the hidden weakness of the herd. Evidence becomes less important than repetition. Confidence matters more than accuracy. What's familiar starts to feel true. In these moments, doubt doesn't disappear because it's wrong. It disappears because it's inconvenient. The crowd rewards those who reinforce the story. It ignores those who complicate it, and it punishes those who challenge it. Over time, belief becomes self-reinforcing. People don't check facts, they check reactions. They don't ask, "Is this correct?" They ask, "Will this isolate me?" That's when the trap closes, because once social proof replaces evidence, the group can move confidently in the wrong direction, not despite intelligence, but because intelligence is now being used to defend the consensus. Denial, punishment, and the fear of standing alone. Once the herd commits, dissent becomes dangerous, not because it's false, but because it threatens stability. The first response isn't debate, it's dismissal. Questioning voices are labelled negative, alarmist, and unhelpful. Then comes punishment. Careers stall, reputations shrink, and social doors quietly close. Others are watching this happen. They learn the lesson quickly. Silence is safer than accuracy, and adaptation feels smarter than resistance. So doubts get softened, then edited and buried. Public certainty grows stronger at the exact moment private doubt spreads. This is how denial takes hold, not through ignorance, but through pressure. By the time the cost becomes obvious, most people didn't change their minds. They changed their behaviour, and that shift from honest thought to careful compliance is what allows bad ideas to survive far longer than they should. Overreach, when the herd goes all in. Once denial sets in, the next move is almost predictable: escalation. Instead of slowing down, the herd accelerates. Instead of reassessing, it commits harder. Resources are poured in, and language becomes more absolute. Backing out is no longer an option, not because it's impossible, but because it's humiliating. Every warning sign is reframed as proof of commitment, and setbacks becomes justification for doubling down. This is the most dangerous phase. The group is no longer trying to be right, it's trying to avoid admitting it might be wrong. So leverage increases, stakes rise, and flexibility disappears. At this stage, intelligence doesn't reverse the course, it sharpens it. Smart people build better arguments, capable institutions design stronger supports, and the herd moves forward with confidence, right up to the edge, convinced that turning back would be more dangerous than continuing. The breaking point. Collapse feels sudden. When the break finally comes, it feels instant. A single headline, one decision, one moment where confidence snaps into panic. From the outside, it looks sudden. From the inside, it feels shocking. But collapse is never spontaneous. It is the result of pressure quietly accumulating while everyone pretends nothing is wrong. By this point, the system is fragile. It depends on belief and confidence, and not on strength and reality. So when trust cracks, even slightly, it spreads fast. People who were calm yesterday rush to distance themselves today. Certainty flips into blame. Unity turns into chaos. The same crowd that enforced silence now asks why nobody spoke up, and only in hindsight does the pattern seem obvious. Only after the damage is done do people see the warning signs that were there all along. Collapse feels sudden, but it's only sudden to those who weren't watching closely. The pattern parallels. To today reappears. What makes this pattern unsettling is not that it happened before, it's that it keeps happening in new forms with familiar behaviour. The settings change, language evolves, and technology improves, but the human response stays the same. Confidence spreads faster than caution, belonging still feels safer than doubt, and silence still looks like wisdom. Today, the herd moves through screens instead of streets, through narratives instead of proclamations, and through trends, metrics, and approved opinions. Eye intelligence offers no immunity, just like before. Smart people sense the risk early. They notice inconsistencies and the tension, but they also feel the cost of speaking. So the pattern repeats, not because people are foolish, but because they are human. The herd doesn't need everyone to believe. It only needs enough people to stop questioning. If you want to know more about behavioral finance and panic psychology, don't forget to subscribe for more upcoming videos. Why this still matters now. History's most costly mistakes rarely begin with malice. They begin with comfort, agreement, and the quiet decision to go along rather than stand apart. The herd doesn't move because it's forced. It moves because following feels reasonable in the moment. But every era believes its consensus is different, more informed, advanced, and more immune. The paradox is that it never is. The danger is not that people follow the herd. That instinct is human. The danger is forgetting that crowds can be wrong and often are most confident just right, before they are. So the question isn't whether humans follow the herd. The question is whether we recognize the moment when following feels safest and pause long enough to ask if it's also wrong. Don't miss the next video, where we uncover how social media turns trends into stampedes. So hit to subscribe